this immersion is being generated by Illumination Academy. So Illumination Academy is an incredible coaching company, and we help leaders, founders, and creatives access their full potential so they can achieve anything they want. Basically, be the architect of your life. As we dive in to how to have real confidence and natural authority for more prosperity in all ways, whether that's wealth, health, love, and spirituality. And I'm going to set the room, because the room, like, we're really big on energy over here. We're really big on science too, but when you merge them, there's a lot of magic that happens. So I want you all to take a breath and respond to these 3 questions, if you would. The first question is, are you willing to show up with unconditional love towards the teachings, towards others, towards yourself? If so, put a Y in the text chat. Are you willing to show up without criticizing teachings, others, or yourself? If yes, put a Y in the text chat. And are you willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable? Because that's where the magic happens. And if that's good to go, put a Y in the text chat, because so much changes when you dive into that. You're like, yep, I'm open. I'm really going to receive and have that shift that you're looking for. And real confidence and natural authority. Let me share a bit about why this is so important, and we're tying it into results in your life. So think about everything as cause and effect, right? When you change the cause, you have different effects. And one of the causes that I hear again and again, whether it's from my private one-on-one clients, people in the Ashram Alchemists, people in Prosperity Code, is they feel that at the moment they need it most, their confidence collapses. And what that does is it prevents you from seeing your own personal magic. Everyone is holding on to some magic, and everyone's holding on to some shame. And so we have to understand that some of the best stories come from people doing things they'd never normally do. And it's rare to find people who aren't afraid to break out of their usual norm. So if you ever found yourself doing something that's off script, that was maybe something you never thought you would do, this is a good thing. You're lining up with that small percentage of the population that's willing to break a script. Because most people tend to keep parts of themselves hidden, especially when they're around new people or they're reaching for new goals. And it's funny how much people miss out by sticking to that old identity, or they miss out by sticking to old scripts. But it's interesting how the people who make the biggest impact are often the ones who aren't afraid to show who they really are. They've let go of the fear of evaluation. And other people are drawn to that kind of genuine energy. So it's like an ignition for prosperity. It's ignition for confidence. And so today we're going to identify the exact moment your confidence might collapse, what's really happening in your brain, in your nervous system, and in your belief center. And we're going to reveal the invisible identity loop that keeps pulling you into self-doubt, second guessing, maybe even self-criticism. And then, everyone, I'm going to show you how to use the 3 authority precision markers. Write this down: brain, body, and belief, to restore natural authority without performance, without posturing. And then we'll look at the 4 unstoppable corners of an unbreakable confidence frame, so that you can walk into any room, any situation, and feel like you are in control, because you are. And this is really important, everyone, because this is you, right? We're dealing with you as the cause. And then whatever you want to create in your life has a way better chance of manifesting, of coming into reality. Does that make sense, everyone? And so I'm going to give you an agenda real quick, because it's a recipe, right? I want to give you the recipe so you can get the most out of today, because it is a deep dive. This is an immersion. We have a lot to cover. But if you don't have context in a plan, it'll just be another information gathering summit. And Here at Illumination Academy, we work on taking clear and concise action for true change. So action is the insignia of life, but most people hit an edge that is tied to their identity when they go to take action. And that's what we're working on here today. And it's also about implementing what we share with you, not just taking notes. Because honestly, you don't need another mindset trick. You've done the work. This is why you were drawn to something that said real confidence and natural authority. You actually need an identity shift, a paradigm change. So as we go through these phases, at the end of each phase, I'm going to ask you to do something that might be uncomfortable. But again, that's where the growth is. And that something is an identity shifting action. So it might take you out of your comfort zone. But again, that's where the magic happens. So let's look at this, and just as I go through the phases, type in one word that lands with you. You're like, oh, I want to have that. So context, we're doing that now, how to get the most out of the immersion and why it works. And we'll continue to talk about that. Phase 1 is handle the ego. And we're going to dive into the ego threat triangle. I'm going to share a diagnosis tool so you actually know what's happening when you start to maybe get triggered or agitated, and then your identity shifting action. Phase 2 is natural authority. Natural authority means you are the architect of your life. You're in control. You're not handing your authority over to the news or email or Facebook or TikTok in the morning. You are sovereign. And so we're looking at what your brain, body, and beliefs are doing to your reality. We're going to dive into the law of belief because it is a universal law that can change everything when you understand how to work with it. Most of you are working against it. And then an identity shifting action. Really important. Phase 3, real and unbreakable confidence. I'm not talking about posturing. I'm also not talking about collapsing. I'm talking about holding a frame that no matter what the world throws at you, you can handle it. And phase 4 is a subconscious reset that you can immediately do for the brain, subconscious, and body. So does this sound attractive? Hey, Monica, good to see you. Does this sound attractive? Is this something, everyone, that you're like, okay, let's go. Let's shift that identity. Let's get rid of the ego threat and let's have a confidence frame that is really, really strong. Put a Y in the text chat if you're like, heck yeah, I want this. And I hope you do. Because really the goal that we have here for you is that you get extreme clarity on when your confidence collapses and what to do about it. I'm not going to leave you in a hole, right? And we have just a short amount of time to do this. We're going to rewire your brain, your body, and beliefs so they all match the prosperity you truly desire, and develop unbreakable confidence frames so that you are the most composed person in the room. And then access your true potential so that you turn up the dial of prosperity in all ways. This is not a motivational session, everyone. This is a full system, operating system upgrade. Because self-confidence, natural authority is the type of energy that moves entire rooms. It's the type of energy that changes your money energy, your love energy, your health, your success, your spiritual power. One thing, maybe more, but I'm going to ask as we give you these teachings, which are so important, I want you, what I would love to ask is that you give yourself permission. Throughout this immersion, will you give yourself permission to let go of an old identity? Because real self-confidence and natural authority are never given to you by someone else. They are revealed. So if you give yourself permission, put a Y in the text chat, shake it off, raise your hands, drink some water, because it will take some courage. And we're right here for you. My team is here for you. We've got Jenna, we've got Zach, we have Gahal, Nick in the background. I've got clients here, Trish, Dalila, Divya. So the house is really good. Hey, Stacy's here. Stacy just recently joined our prosperity code. Good things happening. Now, here's something that's really important. I'm going to suggest you take a screenshot. Absence of evidence does not mean evidence of absence. I'd love for you to enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. When you do that, everything else starts to fall into place. And I also need you to take some action. Knowledge can slow you down if you do not implement. Knowledge can give you this false sense of dopamine, of security, when it's not integrated into action. This used to happen to me so much as I was starting my coaching company. I was like, well, I just have to learn more. I just have to learn more. And finally, I was like, I got to implement. And really, I do think this is one of the biggest blocks and problems in the personal and spiritual development space, is that people get stuck in the cycle of learning things. But they are hitting terror barriers when they go to actually change their paradigm, change their identity, and take action in the world. And so that's why you're here. You'll learn shortly that this is not an information gathering session. It is an immersion, and we are here for you. We do this really well. We support so many clients in taking action to their next level. So I want to give you just a future glance of a really strong and foundational program that merges ancient teachings with modern neuroscience. It's called the Prosperity Code Coaching Method. And it's around 5 steps frameworks, which is inquire. We get really clear in what you want. You're going to discover some of that today. Identify what's in the way. What's been holding you back? Why are you here in the same place that you were 12 or 18 months ago? And then we clear it. So we have active metaphysical energy clearing sessions and training so you can clear your blocks, and then activate a universal law so that if you're holding resentment towards somebody, you know how to forgive yourself and others. Or if you're cut off from money, you understand the law of supply, and then you awaken to a new way of being, doing, and having. So prosperity is this gorgeous spiritual world that amazing teachers like Florence Scovel-Shinn, Charles Fillmore, Catherine Ponder have used to describe a reality that you love. Maybe it's wealth, maybe it's health, love, power, leadership, time, all the things that give you this position of being the architect of your life. And today, as we look at vision and identity and confidence, places that we dive into at Illumination Academy, we're focusing only on confidence today, but it's going to do so much because it's mind, body, belief. And it's going to change the way you navigate the world, and it's going to help you elevate your energy. So if you're okay with more prosperity, just go ahead and write prosperity in the text chat, and let's dive in, because why confidence in authority? If you believe it will work out, you'll see opportunities. If you believe it won't, you will see obstacles. You will see obstacles if you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, it's too hard, it's not going to work out. And this is something I really want you to absorb and understand. Because too many, I've seen people come here, they're on all my free webinars and Thursday transmissions, and they can't make a move out of where they are because they believe they can't do it. And it saddens me because one of the things we do is actually change your belief system that changes a reality. So I have to ask you, how long have you known? How long have you known that you have access to more or all of your full potential, but the how eludes you, or the world's too noisy? How long have you known that you're meant for more? We can't keep waiting for others to see us. There are countless impacts you are ready to make. We have to take more action. And what prevents us actually from turning a dream into a reality is that action is the insignia of life. And action is also the thing that can scare people the most. And the 2 main reasons that I see people don't take action is, number 1, they don't have a concise system, recipe, framework to follow, so they don't feel confident in their actions. They have too many open loops. They're grasping at straws. And number 2, they don't have the support they need when they hit a terror barrier, when they hit a block. And so most people think that confidence is feeling amazing on top of the world all the time, but that isn't, because life is going to do life. Real self-confidence means you can handle anything that comes your way, and you know that deep in your soul. You know you're the architect, and from that place, you continue to create a reality you love. You manifest quickly. You're able to bring in, whether it's more money, greater love, etc., because you're in alignment. So everyone, if you're ready for that, give yourself permission to really start to shift now, and just put a Y in the text chat. And if you're new, welcome. I'm Kisma. How we got here as well. At Illumination Academy, our coaching company, we've generated over $6 million supporting thousands of people and helping people reach that next level. Clear a block, create. Clear a block, create. Whether they're in business on their own, whether they're a coach or a healer, or they're working in corporate, or they're a mom and dad. Whatever it is, we help people live. And I work with entrepreneurs, CEOs, HR executives, judges, and doctors, and people that are just doing life like you and me. And here's the thing, they all share with me, whatever level of success, they all share with me, hey, Kisma, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and wonder if I can keep it all going. Is my world going to come crashing down? And then they quietly say, my self-esteem took a hit. Anyone ever feel this way? I know I did. In fact, it was me, because I wasn't always running a successful coaching company. In fact, since I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a musician, and I realized that dream. I was in an orchestra, a couple of orchestras, but my main job was really successful. I practiced all the time. I did this thing. I also wreaked havoc on my ego, but I kept going because I had a strong desire to achieve this goal. And then one night, hot summer in Hong Kong, we're playing a Beethoven symphony, and I can just hear this voice saying, you're done here. I was a little bit shocked, but I followed my intuition since I was probably 4 years old. But real intuition, I'll tell you the difference between that and fear later. I knew I wanted to help people in a different way. So I retired from that orchestra, moved back to the States, opened my yoga studio. Then I heard my teacher lecture in the States. I followed him to India. We've been there, 16 times, studying Vedanta, bringing these ancient principles, which change lives, to all of our clients, and continue to study them. I am certified with applied behavior research, so really diving into the neurocognitive world so that we can bring more science to the spirituality. And we moved to Las Vegas a year and a half ago or so that we could do more retreats, that my private clients could come. I do something called Avery, which is a transformational process. They stay with me for 4 days, and we're looking forward to doing the next Prosperity Code Live. This wasn't always easy for me. And so if you get comfortable being uncomfortable, like I did, and our top clients do, all of our clients, your life is going to elevate in ways you never imagined. This is not about tactics and tools. It's about an identity change in magnificent action. So what I'm about to show you may take you out of your comfort zone, but if you wish to have unshakable confidence, natural authority over yourself so you can walk into any room and lead, so that you know you can manifest, whether it's money or love or health, then will you commit with me to being okay, to just getting shook up a little bit, to getting out of your comfort zone, so that you can solve and dissolve loneliness, stress, scarcity once and for all? If so, put a Y in the text chat. Because I'm being super transparent. I always am. I think those of you that know me know that I am. I'm here to help you have more prosperity, whatever that is for you. Money in your business, success in your career, love in your relationships, or higher spiritual, deeper connection. Because if you're doing that, you will change lives for years to come. Everybody that you love will shift. Everybody that you serve will shift. It's the ripple effect. And we're about to rewrite your identity and rewire your brain and your subconscious mind. So if there's nothing you want to change, nothing you want to be better at, you can go buy yourself a cup of coffee. But if you want expansion, if you want to break through that next level, if you want to finally stop worrying about how to live life, then stay here, keep breathing, take notes, because I'm ready to help you understand what this unbreakable, unshakable confidence is. And I want you to say to yourself, I mean, this is how I approach things, is I am willing to do whatever it takes to achieve my full potential. And if you believe it, type a heck yeah in the text chat. Because I talk to so many people and they can't sit still and focus, not for a bit. So it's refreshing to see you here. All of you, with what you've already created, be so present and engaged and tuned in and ready to take action. So we're going to change the inputs so that you change the output and let go. And as you know, real learning doesn't take place unless it changes your behavior. And nothing pains me more to give my heart and soul, which I tend to do today, only to see you months or years later to have the same problem that you currently have. So I want you here to tell me right now, I'll take you, I'm going to show you this process. I'm going to give you this recipe. Will you implement it? Will you do it? Do we have a deal? Drink some water, put in the text chat, deal, and let's go. Phase 1. There is an exact moment that your confidence collapses. Certain events trigger an ego threat that derails your focus, energy, and authority to a point that it feels like a complete confidence breakdown. And most people are trying to feel confident. High performers try to act confident, but few ever understand why it collapses. And that's actually the key to having the unbreakable and unshakable confidence, because your brain will intercept or interpret maybe being visible as a threat. Your body runs on these outdated safety loops. They don't serve you anymore. Your beliefs are filtered through old identity programs. You don't feel like an imposter because you are one. You feel it because your subconscious doesn't believe it's safe to fully claim who you are. And that's the invisible ceiling. And everyone, it runs deeper than most people ever go. So let's look at the ego threat triangle. And shout out to NCI University and Chase Hughes for teaching me this. It's the same ego threat triangle that they teach to Secret Service agents to keep their cool, to leaders, to executives, so that when something's happening, that individual and you individual can keep your cool and you're centered and you're aware. Because really, we can't afford to lose confidence. We want to enhance it. And so I want you to hear this. It's never, confidence isn't about words or what actually happened. It's about the brain and how your brain is reacting to an ego threat and ego danger, not a real threat or danger, ego threat. Write that down. So this triangle is like a window into your insecurities and fears. And good news is, once you see this, you've revealed areas that as you increase your self-awareness, which we will do today, you have better control over how you react. It won't affect you as much. Does that make sense? So we're going to do this point by point, but you can see there's identity, there's safety, and there's control. And identity is really the self-concept, the narrative of life, social reputation, assumption of perception, significance. Are you feeling significant, or are you self-criticizing your own brain? Safety is like the status safety for people. You don't want to be humiliated, you don't want to be embarrassed, or maybe it's social inclusion. Shame and guilt hit safety big time, and a lot of people are operating with shame and guilt right now. And you don't need to. insecurity, comparison, jealousy. And then control at the bottom is like control. If you have a lack of control somewhere, a control deficit, you feel powerless, and then you start to try and over control. And when all of this happens, your brain goes full limit mode and logic gets bypassed when any of these are triggered. This could be a new situation. It could be when the stakes are high, when you're going for a new goal, something's happening, and all of a sudden, even in a casual conversation, for some reason, a past event triggered and you start to feel this loss of groundedness and control and confidence. And when two of these are threatened, it feels like the composure implodes. When all three are threatened, you've hit a massive terror barrier. So let's look at the ego threat triangle, identity. This is who you think you are. You don't want it threatened. I think that's fair to say, right? It doesn't feel good when who we think we are is threatened. And significance is needed, and concept of self is often based on others' perceptions. That's when you're in a confidence break loop. So if you hear yourself saying or thinking, hey, don't talk to me that way, or that's not what I meant, or how dare you accuse me, that is an identity threat. You'll get defensive and either be saying something like along those lines, like, I just can't, you're attacking me. You'll take it personally. Now, this is what your subconscious mind, brain, and nervous system are feeding. We're going to get to that later, but it's an invisible identity ceiling. And I guarantee it's running your life right now. It's creating excuses and reasons for you to not reach your next level. So let me know if this is landing in that identity. If anybody has felt that identity threat, type in identity in the text chat. Because I don't know about you, but I think you, me, everyone has gone through this. And until your identity is really locked and loaded and aligned with your full potential, it's easy to have that trigger or that threat. Yeah, I'm getting some messages. Yes, happens often. I get defensive at work. Makes sense. Yeah, so you guys are not alone. Where you are in the 1% is that you're going to do something about it. Most people don't even know they can. So they suffer through these triggers. There's a loss of confidence. Ego threat, control, the need to have power over predictability. Who here cannot stand when they don't know what's going to happen? Or who here can't stand when there's all of a sudden a change? This is your ego getting threatened. Your ego wants to decide what is next and often reacts when it's out of control. So if you're feeling like you need the power of predictability, this is your ego that wants to decide what is next. And this is where we can become reactive. Control is survival for some people. And if it's taken away, even for a minute, the human animal brain pops out because the mind or the amygdala is screaming, I'm not in charge. I can't handle this. Don't tell me what to do. So if you're ever having this internal conversation or you're getting triggered with someone else, you'll know that your confidence is collapsing because your control side of the ego threat triangle is threatened. And it could just be someone changes a schedule, or they say something to you, or all of a sudden at work, you're switching what you're doing and it doesn't feel safe to be out of control. But everyone, that is going to limit your prosperity in all areas of your life because you're like constricted. You're stuck. Does this make sense, everyone? Control mimics safety, but it is not safety. Anybody here suffer from that control bottom line? It's like, oh man, when that gets triggered, I don't like it. Just put in the text chat if that happens to you. Then What happens when 2 or more people are fighting for control? You know it's never going to end well. No one wins. You are fighting at the ego threat level. So you might be responding to someone. If your control is getting threatened, maybe you're not listening to me. You're twisting my words around. I don't have to take this kind of thing. And so control threats get louder and louder. And you have to feel when you're in this collapse, you have to feel like you're in control to relax again. But that's just like an illusion, and it's a loop. Yeah, it can be devastating. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Amazing work. So let's go to safety. So I just want to glance back. Here's the triangle. We're up here on this side, the safety side. So safety is the need to feel secure and included. If threatened, so is your perceived belonging, your social status, your position. And so on the safety side, part of you is like, am I still safe? Am I included? Do I belong? Do people like me? This is where the fear of evaluation comes in. That can be on the identity side too, but it's really like at the deepest level, when you have a fear of what people think, you're afraid of being excluded, and it's hitting the safety side. And so this is where you enter like a hierarchy question and disruption, and where there'll be a power imbalance. Am I losing? What are they saying about me? Am I being outclassed? All these things, or you'll compare yourself to someone on social media. So if you're not in this strong safety side, it can really activate a spin and a spiral down. And you'll see this around others. You'll see all sides around others, but this work is about looking at yourself. So it's very easy to point the finger, everyone, and be like, oh, that person over there is safety side. Just stay out of it. It's not your gig. Focus on you, because that's where you make the change. Okay, so we don't want you collapsing. We don't want you obsessing about if you're included or not. We want you to have that natural authority, which we'll get to. So if one is triggered, another is usually close behind. So if one side gets triggered, maybe it's control, maybe it's identity, there's another one that's probably going to pop up. And if you have a threat of control and safety together, it creates panic and the feeling that you can't do anything right. Anybody been there where you're like, I just can't get it right? And then you get into like this victim energy, which is depleting. Or if you have identity and safety threatened, it puts you in a shame spiral. I'm always wrong. I'll keep my mouth shut. You know, that like the martyr, I just won't say anything. But that's no fun. No one wants to live that way, right? And then if all three, that's when you're like having a complete meltdown, and the captain on the ship is saying, hey, you have to disembark. But I don't think anybody here is doing that. But it can feel that way. It can feel that way. So take a breath and tell me in the text chat, which side, the identity, safety, or control, do you feel hits you the hardest? Or is there a combination? So share that in the text chat, please, because you're going to find, number one, you're not alone. And number two, we're going to look at where it impacts your prosperity in different ways. Right? So if you have an endless argument, for example, it's identity and control. If you have sudden spikes of anger, you storm out, that's control and safety. If you're passive aggressive, it's identity and safety. Like rage shuts down all of them. Big combo, control. Thanks, Miguel. Identity and safety. Good shares, everyone. Identity and safety is very real right now. But think about when you're, we're going to give you the confidence frame so you don't have to take it. Anybody else want to share? Safety, identity and safety, identity, safety. Great. Thanks, everyone. Really good shares. So let's apply this, because I know it's like, oh yeah, this is great. No, I want you to see how it affects what's happening in your life now. This is one of the things I had to work through extensively when I retired as a classical musician, then opened a yoga studio. That was a change of identity. Then sold the yoga studio and then started a coaching business. Identity shifts, control changes, really triggered safety. So when I figured this out, I was like, oh, things can actually flow. That's the prosperity code. So when we look at wealth, and I want you to type this in the text chat, let's say 1 to 10, 10 being a really high abundant consciousness, 1 being low. Where are you in your wealth? We're looking at like your wealth container, your abundant consciousness. And you're going to see how the ego threat triangle affects it. Where are you in your energy? 1 is low energy, 10 is high vibrant energy. Where are you in love, in relationships? Do you have connected relationships, or do you keep attracting passive aggressive partners or passive aggressive business partners? 1 to 10. And then time. Time is so big for people right now. When you're aligned in your triangle, when you're aligned in confidence, when you're aligned in your natural authority, you bend time. But most people feel like they don't have enough time. Circling loop 3, 1, 4s. Who else? I want you to look at this because it's easy. It's uncomfortable. I told you, you have to be willing to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I've been there. I've done this. I look at this stuff every single day for myself and my clients. And it's okay to be like, you know what? I'm nowhere near a 10. We can get you to a 10. But honesty is important. So who else wants to share? And maybe 1 is popping up for you. Maybe you're like, love, I'm in a 3 because I keep doing these weird relationships. Or maybe love is a 9. I don't know that anybody's a 10. Maybe abundant too. So there's wealth, money, energy issues. So good work. Keep looking at this. We'll come back to the metric. Let's look at the self-awareness diagnostic tool. Why do we need this? Because in order to pivot in real time, you have to be aware. Write down self-awareness, situational awareness. Really be aware. So recognize when that thing hits, when the collapse begins or even fully goes in. I want you to recognize that a shift took place. Just be like, whoa, something happened. And I'll get it. I'll have clients text me or put in our support groups, wow, I was having this conversation. I became ungrounded. That's the first step. Recognize that something took place, a shift happened. Number 2, diagnose if it's identity, safety, control, or a combination. So when you're in it, and you can even be in the conversation, everyone like, oh, wow, I think this identity thing's coming up. 3, rewrite the outcome in time. And all it means is in your mind, or if you can say it out loud softly, I'm safe, I'm in control, I know who I am. And sometimes just putting your hand on your heart and thinking as you're having a conversation, I'm safe, I know who I am, I'm in control. Because if you don't do that, what happens? What happens? You start to self-criticize, or you get so into the spin you can't regulate. Is this landing, everyone? It's super important that you can just, oh yeah, okay, I can rewrite that. I'm in control. I got this. It's okay. But most of you haven't thought about even doing that. And so things in your life are affected. That's great, Monica. I love that you have an abundance mindset, yet not quite the money. There's a glitch. There's something happening. So we can fix that. Now let's look at anybody ready for the identity shifting action? This is really important. There's 3 things that you've got to do to heal the ego threat triangle. Number 1, be radically self-forgiving. Like, be willing to forgive yourself. When you do that, you'll forgive others. See, people try to build confidence, but it's layered over shame of the past. The past is over. It's for learning. If you're trying to build unbreakable, unshakable confidence in yourself, you have to be delusional about self-forgiveness. It is not weak to let go. It's access to something higher. Number 2, decide on who you are. Decide for yourself and be willing to live up to it. This isn't a meme. This is an identity shift. This is a system upgrade. And it will make your little ego scream, and that's okay. You're deciding on a new role in life, a new way of being, doing, and giving. Number 3, stop trying to prove. You don't need to prove anything. When you're in proving energy, you are outsourcing your belief, your self-belief, your confidence, your self-esteem to someone else. You might even be outsourcing to someone you don't know because you're trying to prove yourself, like on social media. You don't need to prove yourself. You open that door, it's the same door that floods negative stuff. You don't need anyone's permission to act like you belong. You stop being programmable when you let go. And this is what our client Lisa did. Lisa went through our Prosperity Code coaching method, and she had a huge hack, huge tear on her identity and safety sides in the ego threat. And I would say control too. She was in corporate. She ran, state. She ran the health organization for a state. She was head of it, and COVID happened. And it was really, really rough. Talk about being attacked, blamed, the whole triangle. Now, when she came to us, she couldn't see what was possible. We could right away because she's amazing. So when she first showed up, you could feel the tension. You knew what she was holding on to. She was trying to smile, but it was strained. And it affected her health. She went through our framework, which is designed to heal what needs to heal, to adjust what needs to help, to adjust. Now, right now, she's in India. She has her own consulting company. The companies that blew her off or even criticized her are hiring her because she had a system to go through. And many of our clients, Devia's here on the immersion. We've got Doug and Sarah and Loveleen and Lenny and Martha. They heal the ego threat and they have more prosperity than they know what's possible. So breathe and let's go to phase 2, which is really important. This is the 3 B's of natural authority. Look, you're a complex human being. It's not enough to just work on your mindset. It's not enough to go for a run. It's not even enough to journal. You can biohack all you want. You can jump up and down before you walk on stage. I've been with those people. Do all the hacks you see on YouTube, but you need to have the complete recipe to be the most composed person in the room. And that is the 3 B's of natural authority. So take a drink of water, breathe, stretch, and let's look at brain, body, and belief. Your brain is a prediction machine. Your brain responds to your version of reality, your current version. It is deciding who you will most likely be today, your identity based on all the things you've been so far. It's not a truth machine. It's a prediction machine. It's an expectation engine. And it falls, your brain falls in line behind what your thoughts are expecting. And that can be scary, everyone, if you're always expecting the other shoe to drop, or you're always expecting it's not going to work out, if you're always thinking that you're not enough. So the brain is showing the version of reality it believes you can survive. It's here to help you survive. Your nervous system, your subconscious, here to help you survive. So if there's a new opportunity in front of you, but your brain is expecting it to be hard or holding you down, your nervous system's holding you down, you won't even see the opportunity, let alone go for it. And everyone has been living inside a prediction machine that has been running their life. So everything gets filtered. And the quantum truth here is that you don't have to react to reality. You get to predict it. You get to change the prediction. And that is when you override what the brain is just keeping you doing to keep you safe, and then become the architect. Because if your past relationships have felt like betrayal, difficult, narcissist, guess what? Your brain's looking for more. It's just like, oh, this is what you do. It's going to keep locating relationships that bring pain until you go through a process or framework that rehabilitates. If you keep telling yourself money is hard, you might have an abundant consciousness. Money might come in, but it goes out. Or if somewhere there's shame or unworthiness, or you're just ungrounded and don't know what actions to take, your money energy will repeat. And then you tell yourself a scarcity story. Does this make sense, everyone? It's like the brain locks things in as a forecast, and then it filters reality so it gets to be right. It's not malicious. It's just efficient, because the brain would rather be right and predictable. In neuroscience, we call it predictive processing, right? Your brain builds reality before you experience it. In the coaching space, we refer to it as feedback loop. So whatever you call it, it's one of the most important modern discoveries in neuroscience, yet it's ancient, and that this is all still working with the universal laws of belief, expectation, and assumption. And so where it gets interesting and fascinating is most of us are waiting for evidence before we actually shift our belief. You got to flip it upside down. You have to flip the belief and the evidence comes. Or you want proof that it's safe to trust. You want numbers to show up before you feel secure. You want the apology before you soften your heart. Or you want a certain amount of money in the bank before you claim abundance. This is why highly successful people who are calm and centered and know the recipe, that they understand there are unseen hands ready to support you. So you build more faith when you train yourself to believe before you see. But the trap is your physical brain doesn't show you new evidence until after you shift expectation. Your brain won't show you new evidence until after you shift expectation. It's that reticular activating system. You see it on TikTok and Instagram, buy a green car, all you do is see green cars. It's your internal spotlight. It's only highlighting what matches the forecast that's already running. So it's like a weather report. And then you have your little amygdala there in the center, which has been designed to keep you safe, right? Hunters and gatherers, oh my gosh, there's a sound in the forest. The amygdala lights up. The prefrontal cortex starts to discern, is that a threat? No, it's just a rabbit. Oh, maybe it's a tiger. But in today's world, because there is so much noise and so much distraction, if you aren't doing the work, your amygdala implodes, and the prefrontal cortex doesn't have an opportunity to say, wait a minute, let's check this. It would, like if you were at the zoo and you saw a very big hairy spider, even at the zoo, that amygdala is going to go, bump, if you don't like spiders. Then your frontal cortex is like, hang on, let's give it some context. It's in a cage. And then you're like, oh, okay, it's cool. I can stand here. But when you're out in the world doing new things, feeling new things, dreaming, reaching for your goals, this RAS gets triggered, your amygdala implodes, and you don't have the support or you don't have the system to reset, so you opt out. That's when people go into excuses. Is this landing, everyone? Share what you're hearing. I'm gonna pause the slides for a moment, and I want to bring up team because they're really, really smart. So I'm going to see who's on, who's available. Hey there, Zach is here, and we've got Kahal and Jenna. These guys understand the work at a deep process, and sometimes when you hear it from a different voice, it can help. So Kahal, do you want to lead us off and share what you heard so far that we've worked so deeply on Illumination Academy, and how that can change everyone here and how they show up to life?
Oh yeah, sure, Kisma. That's an easy question. I'll just answer that right now. That's great. Well, no, wonderful what I'm hearing right now so far. I love how you're dispelling and debunking some of the myths, I think, and some of the stories
Mm,
that people stay trapped in. In my experience, like confidence, it really comes from two sources. It comes from our lived experiences and our environment, right? So if we continue to have experiences that feed the narrative or the story that we're not good at something or we're not going to achieve something, it just compounds and reinforces until we start to have different experiences. The second part to that is the environment. We're often around people that don't lift us up, that don't see those opportunities to grow our confidence with us. In fact, even though they may love us, they may detract from that
mm,
confidence, which is even harder to kind of comprehend and
right.
get our head around. What I love about Illumination Academy is we tackle both of those head on. We create the actual opportunities to have new experiences that build confidence, and we're surrounded by a community that raises us up. So I think you need both of those to really crack this
Yeah, I
code.
love that. I love that. Hey, Jenna, what about you? Jenna takes care of our clients. She's our client success manager, and she's my amazing go-to. What have you seen in clients that have been able to use our system and change their confidence and their natural authority?
That's a really great question. I love all of our clients, and I see some of you are on here, so hi. I think something you said earlier, you mentioned there's a glitch. So we need to recognize, diagnose, and rewrite. And our clients that can recognize these things as a glitch, as a little piece of information to learn about ourselves and carry forward, that's how we make changes. But it's also really how we build the real confidence, is by changing those things and taking a minute to acknowledge, okay, something happened. And that's, where you come in, Kisma, and all of our coaches,
Mm,
is we don't always really recognize things as a glitch, but once they do, they carry that forward, and that
mm.
builds confidence.
Yeah, that's really cool. The reset. That's why we're really big on self-coaching, because at times you are out there in the jungle alone, but when you have something in your ear, maybe Nariman's here. She's in Paris. She listens to the abundance drops. Divya has done extensive coaching with us. When you know how to reset, everything is easier. And Zach, what about you? You've been soaking it all in. What's your take on what you've heard so far that you've seen as helpful?
Well, what really clicked for me with Illumination Academy is how it shows you what's really happening underneath your reactions. Whether
Mm,
it's safety, control, identity getting triggered, and then it gives you a way to actually reset those patterns. And when that shifts, you don't just understand confidence, you embody it. That's what stood out
mm.
to me.
I love that. It's what's happening underneath. And this is true. I've had a lot of clients come to me, very successful, like all of you here, the team and everyone registered. But internally, it's like I said, that quiet moment is like, I don't think I'm feeling like everyone's seeing me. And so it's you feel this fracture internally and you cannot create as much prosperity as you want. So let's give a round for the team. They're amazing. And I am going to dive back in and show you something that I think hopefully will help as we move forward. So before we go to body, I want to do something that is a bit radical that we've started to do, and then we'll dive back in and go to body and beliefs. We have something that we call your prosperity implementation call. And this is a limited amount of calls that we have set aside with myself and my team. You've met these, they're amazing. Amazing coaches, amazing people. And so we want to offer this call to you. It's a free call. It'll be about 45 minutes. And what we're going to do is dive in and go deeper on your blind spots. Figure out what you need to do to fix what's going on, or what is that constraint that needs to be removed. And it's about taking these teachings, right? Understanding the ego threat triangle. Is it affecting your money? Is it affecting your love? Is it affecting your energy, your spiritual power? And what we can do to move out the blocks and help you to align to a place where you're reaching your next level. And you've seen how your own concept of self directly impacts all things, whether it's money, energy, relationships, health. So on this call, my team or myself will take you through our implementation framework. And let's just say it's allowing us to help you move along and see what isn't working, adjust it, whether it's relationships, money, etc. So all that you need to do to take advantage of what we're giving to you for free, which is a really big give because everyone's busy and my team is amazing, is book your call, click the link, and show up, be on time, be focused, right? Don't be scattered or the dentist or something. Show up, be on time, be focused. Be coachable and ready to shift. I think you've heard that again and again. When you're not ready to shift, when you're not open, because we might say something that you want to disagree with, but when you're open, you're like, you know what? I think that's it. This is why you borrow an intellect. And number 3, be ready to implement and take action. So my team's putting the link there. Click, get your spot. Don't wait because it will be limited. If you can't find a time, let us know. We'll reach out. But we really want to serve you, and this is a high-level way to do it. So book your prosperity implementation call. And if you're interested in working with us, if you're interested in going through the prosperity code framework, that recipe, that exact system that our clients use, that I use, we'll tell you what that's like. All right, so good work, everyone. Thank you to the team for giving up their time, and let me dive into the body. Number 2 of authority. And this is something that most people don't talk about. But the thing is, your body answers first. Your body responds. It's connected to the mammalian part of your brain. And this is why it's also easy to read people when you understand the cues and where the stressors are, where the deception. But I want you to look at how you might have an emotional response. And it becomes duplicated and reactive because you're not grounded in your body. You don't know how to handle your body. So I want to start with this. We're going to look at, and jot this down, it's really important, the most important aspect of your body as one of these authority markers, right? Brain, body, belief. Is it open or is it closed? So whenever I meet somebody, the first thing I look at is, are they open or are they closed? Are they wrapping their arms around? Are their shoulders high? Are they hunched? Or are they pretty open and relaxed and kind of having organic movement? When you see that, you understand, is somebody feeling the threat? Are you feeling the threat? Or are you open to receive? And so when we look at 3, I'm just going to give you 3 body language adjustments that will change everything. You're going to discover that it's part of your natural authority and confidence. So who would like these? Number 1, move slowly. Move slowly. Speak slowly. Stop waving your hands around so much when you talk. Illustrators are normal. But if you have to keep talking with your hands or talking really fast and try and get something out, you're not in a confident frame. Move slowly, speak slowly, and pause. And number 3, smile with your eyes. I guarantee that when you are drawn to someone, it's because they have a sincere smile. When someone doesn't smile with their eyes, you'll see this on social media, on the news, they're posing. And it's clear to your mammalian brain who takes it in as like, well, they're smiling, but I don't think they're happy. So there's something called the Duchenne smile, which is when you actually crinkle around your eyes. That is a real smile. It's genuine. It's authentic. It involves both the mouth and the eyes. And here's a great example of the Duchenne smile and open. I don't care what you think about politics in one direction or the other. To watch Barack Obama in his body language is to really give a clear description, clear intention of what it means to have confidence and natural authority. Here's another photo. These three guys, what do you think? There's Nick on the left, our friend John and Brandon. They look pretty open, right? Yeah, it's okay to have hands in the pocket. It's normal. They're smiling, they're relaxed, they're just there. Now, what do you think about this facial expression? How does she look here? Maybe trying to smile? How does that one look compared to this one? Putting the text out, how's that look? This, which we see that kind of photo everywhere, or this? Which one is more open? Which one is more receptive? This is what changes in your body when you're able to clear the energy and adjust your mindset, just like our client, Judge Nicole. She was an attorney, energy healer, yoga teacher, and then she decided to run for judge. And she had some work to do. And before she got on the bench, you could see her walk in the room, shoulders up, clenched jaw, closed, because there was a lot of pressure. And then she went through our prosperity code system, changed the energy. Even before she just recently got the bench, her shoulders are down, her jaw's relaxed. You could see everything melting away, and people were drawn to her. It's very difficult to win an election if people don't feel like they can trust you. Is this landing? Are you having ideas, everyone, about how you can manage your own body and how that shows a natural authority or takes it away? Yeah, definitely, Divya. The second one here, way more open. Let me know what's landing here for you. This might seem like a simple shift. Few people pause and have the self-awareness to give themselves a natural authority body language. When you do, people respond differently. It affects your mindset and it affects your belief. So belief, what you believe to be true about yourself, the world, and others is creating either a natural authority or it's collapsing your confidence. So think about when you are in a situation or when you're creating something. We have some manifestors here. If you're not working with the law of belief in the right way, you probably will have a hard time. You can still do it, but you're going to have a harder time manifesting because everyone is creating a reality based upon what they believe about themselves, their own identity, what's possible for them. This is why you don't have confidence or authority problem. You have an identity problem. Your identity has been hardwired into your brain and belief system. Is this landing, everyone? Let me know if this is landing. So in the chat, what is your current belief system you're running that is not creating confidence? Let's expose that. You won't be alone. So let's get real. In the chat, what is a current belief system running that is not creating confidence? And drink some water. And let's take the shares, because everyone, when you start to see you're not alone, it feels really good to know that other people are working on this and you can adjust it and you can clean up your belief. But if you don't bring it to light, this is just another webinar and the information goes in and out. We need to anchor it in with clarity. So Trish, Divya, Agal, Nariman, Monica, Dalila, what's a belief that is eroding your confidence? I know you're all courageous enough, Put it in the chat. That even if I try, work hard, we'll fudge it up again. So what's the point? Or pattern repeating. Thank you for sharing that. So that belief is in her belief system. It's supported by her brain and nervous system that will just keep pulling you back to what you know to be true, which is, I'll just mess it up. Great vulnerable share. Nariman, I still have abandonment issues I'm working on. So a belief around the love and connection. Trish, my job will always be too busy. That's the way it is. So think about when you have that belief and these are installed again in your thought process, in your brain, your nervous system, you go to work, all of a sudden you're seeing, oh man, this is so busy. I can't even do it. Yeah, Megal, this is what we do. So book a call, please book a call. Jeanette, lost my identity, don't know who I am. What's my purpose focus? It's a really good story you're running. Really, your nervous system, your brain, your subconscious is all over that one. So now we have to go deeper, Jeanette, and shift that belief so that you can reset the body, reset the nervous system. There's a story, I've told this before, of a boy. It's a fascinating story. It's true. He was in the 12th grade. He was in a small town in the Midwest and really bright, did really well in school. And he wrote his scholastic achievement test to go to university. And then a few weeks later, he got back a letter from the university saying, hey, you've been accepted. And it looks like you've scored 98 on the scholastic achievement test. So you're ready. We're going to accept you. Well, to be honest, he didn't know much about the SAT, and he thought the 98 was an IQ score. So he was sort of starting to struggle already. It's like, how did I get into university? My IQ is that low. Like, I never knew that. He's spinning. And so even though 98 is just slightly below average, it's about 20 points below what would be necessary for college level work. So he just convinced himself and went into a deep belief dive that his entire high school career was just a farce. All the A's he got must have been a fluke. And he was convinced he could not do college level work. Just like some of you are stating here, no matter what, it won't work. This is where he was. So he went off to college, and guess what happened? After the first semester, he's failing nearly every subject or doing poorly. He's frustrated, he's agitated, and his counselor calls him in and said, hey, what seems to be the problem here? You did extremely well in high school. These courses are only 1 degree difficulty removed from your high school courses. Are you having problems with girls? Are you drinking? Are you doing drugs? What is happening? Problems adjusting. What is it? So the kid says, well, sir, I'm doing the very best I can. But you can't blame me. I've only got a 98 IQ. And the counselor had a smile and he just said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, in the letter of admission to the university, it said that I got a 98 on the scholastic achievement test. The counselor's like, son, dude, that's not IQ. That is percentile. What that means is that you score equal or higher than 98% of the students in the country who wrote that test. You're one of the brightest kids at this university. Well, that was a shift, right? But think about how many of you are doubling down on a system, a nervous system, a brain prediction, all of this, and you're not writing a clear test. So of course he went out and he crushed it. The rest of his university career was in the top 10 of like 30,000 students in the country. Had he not had that shift, think about where all these metrics would be. So do you see how you're telling yourself a story? You're running a story. You're hanging on to it because your brain wants to be right. Your nervous system and subconscious wants you to be safe. And until you have a system to break it open and take the action, have the energy, mindset, all of the support to change it, the metrics on your wealth, on your energy, your love and time will be down. You have to deal with it. You need to work on it. You need to work on it with someone who understands what is going on, not just at a spiritual level, not just at a mindset, not just at an energetic, but also at a brain level. Just like our client, Melanie. In 1 year, we increased her revenue 120%. She came to me in tears. So when some of you say, oh, finances elude me, this, that, that was Melanie. And now she is sought after. She's amazing. She's done 2 TEDx talks. Everything now is dialing in, yet she still does the work. Even though she's reached a new level of success after just being around us for a year, she stuck around for like 6 years. She's still with us because she understands that this is the most important work you can do. So, your identity shifting action. This is what I want you to do so that you have an action, you have something that changes. Write this down. I'm going to take an action that supports my future self. Pattern interrupt. Maybe you dress differently. Maybe you walk differently. Maybe you go buy that pair of shoes you wanted. Maybe you book a call with us. Maybe even work with us. Whatever it is, you're going to take an action that supports your future self. You are going to go up against when your mammalian brain or your nervous system starts to scream, and you're going to be like, this is for my future self. I'm going to keep going. And when you do this, you let go of the fear of being judged. You let go of being pulled back to the identity, old identity. You keep moving. This is what we do. This is how we get our clients to dissolve their identity ceiling. Nariman and Divya and Trish have taken many actions that support their future self. They have the exact system of spiritual modern neurocognitive intelligence to keep going. So you shift that identity. Is this landing, everyone? Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to take that action? Put a Y in the text chat. And we're not done. We're going to go through the confidence frame, but I do hope you've enjoyed today so far. And we're going to move into how you can carry yourself, what's important in your confidence frame. I also want to nudge you, if you've not yet booked your prosperity implementation call, go.prosperitycode.com/one-on-one. The team will put it in, book the call. It will change your life because we'll go deeper into your blind spots. We'll figure out what's going on. We're going to look at those different metrics and see what part of the ego threat triangle is threatening this or that, and help you to elevate whatever place, part of prosperity you want the most. All you have to do is show up, be on time, be focused, be coachable, be ready to shift, be ready to implement and take action. All right. Let's take a breath, drink some water. I want the call opportunity to soak in for you all. Maybe you're listening on the recording. Click the link, get the call. Your life will change. You'll leave different. And you're all here because you want more confidence, because you want to have authority. It's the elevation of the action. Now, let's go. Phase 3, everyone, the confidence frame. This is so cool. You carry a frame of energy. This energy hits first and it never lies. So once you have the 4 corners powerfully tuned, you will have a new identity, a new reality. And here are the 4 corners: perception, belief, expectation, decision. Let me walk through this. Perception. How do you perceive yourself or the current situation you're in? Like, and this is fluid, right? This is throughout your day. Your belief. What do you believe about yourself? Some of you aren't believing great things about yourself. You need to do some deeper work to adjust that. Expectation. If your perception is down, if your belief dial is down, you're going to expect not a great result. That takes you over to decisions. It's deciding what life is for you. It's deciding how people respond to you. It's deciding how much money you have, how much love. So this is like a frame of interaction. Now let's clear and think about it this way. Here's your energy frame. You're walking into a room. You dial your perception up. I perceive that I've got strong confidence. I'm in alignment. I'm here to help people, to make an impact, or just to connect. You have a belief that this is exactly how you can carry yourself, that people are good, life is good. Expectation is all will be well. Regardless of what happens, I will be well. Everything will work out for my highest and best. That means the decisions you make will be anchored. The decision of who you are will be really strong. So let's look at each corner and where are you? So scale of 1 to 5, 5 being lowest, 1 being lowest, 5 being strongest. 1 being lowest, 5 being strongest. On your perception corner, where are you? Are you perceiving possibility? Or are you perceiving negativity? Are you perceiving that this is something that's going on isn't going to go well? Where are you? 1 to 5. Let's get it into the text chat. And then belief, 1 to 5. Where are you believing in the belief frame, your corner of like what you believe is possible for you? Some of you have already revealed it. So let's look at it and be honest and be willing to clear that and elevate. Down in the expectation frame, 1 to 5, where are you there? And then that final corner of decision. If you're a 4 at perception, belief, expectation, you're going to be a 4 at deciding life is amazing. But if you're at a 2 or a 3 or a 1 at perception, belief, expectation, you're going to be low in your decision of life, of who you are, of deciding that you're in control or out of control, of deciding that you're decisive or not. The magic happens when you stop trying to hold the frame and the frame holds itself because you've worked on each of these corners. That is unshakable confidence. That is unbreakable confidence. That makes sense to Leela, and we're working on that, right? Megal, perception 1, belief 3, expectation 1, decision 2. Really good shares. Jeanette, 323. And then how does that affect the decision corner? Marianne, 5 in all of them. Amazing. Nariman, 4, 5 in perception. Divya, 4 to 3. Stacy, 3. Good. We're gonna work that up. And congratulations on Megal. I'm not sure I'm saying your name right, for booking a call. Super cool. So think about it this way. Holding this frame, being able to adjust. And why would we care? Because the most composed person in the room wins. I want you to imagine something right now. You're in an event, you're in an art gallery, you're somewhere, and you kind of dread it, right? It's the kind of thing that you often dread going to. But you find a way to make yourself visible to a few. But this time, you walk in slowly, confidently. You actually connect with people in a meaningful way. In fact, imagine again that you sit down at this type of event that you usually dread, but you enjoy some space and other people start coming to you. You don't need to prove anything. And it's not because of your shoes, or your dress, or your bag, or your suit. It's because you exude the energy of composure. People are seeking this right now. You're seeking it right now. You can't put a price tag on composure. So let's break this down. How does it happen? The frame strength. B times P times E divided by N. I'm not very good at math, but follow me here. So B is the depth of your belief and how completely you live your version of reality. Times P, which is going to be your perception, right? How quickly can you change your perception? Times what you actually expect to happen. So you have those three main corners, then you divide it by a very interesting word called neediness. Neediness meaning how much validation do you need from the outside world? How much agreement? How much approval? You unconsciously seek and lose energy. That lowers the higher level of neediness, determines the lower level of confidence. So can you see how important it is to have real confidence in natural authority, and how you likely have this invisible identity ceiling that is keeping your frame from having true strength and resilience and affecting maybe your wealth, maybe your energy, your love, how you manage time. Is this landing, everyone? It reminds me of one of our clients, Jen. You've seen Jen on some of our training. She's amazing. And she came in, she was in corporate and she dove into the trainings. And she's massively worked on her confidence frame by going through Prosperity Code teachings. She's done TEDx. She's got a best-selling book. And now she's going to be speaking on stage in Chicago. And just when you're around her, you know that she's done the work. So let's do, if you're open, the identity shifting action. Let me know if you're open to it. Again, it's tied into your future self because this work is sort of the invisible work that creates the visible reality. So I want you to act, speak, believe from your future self. You can speak it out loud. I decide to blank because I believe blank and I expect blank to happen. And then whatever shows up, you act immediately on that decision, even if it's in a small way. So what would that look like? Like, I decide to find a new relationship because I believe I'm worthy of it and I expect great connection to happen. See, it's just rewriting what is going on that isn't working. I decide to accept people because I believe that everyone has this oneness, or everyone deserves to be here, and I expect connection to happen. Or I decide to assume my throne because I believe I'm worthy and I expect success to happen. See, all of these are way different than what most people are speaking in their own mind. So how are you doing? Who here has any doubts that you can make a change? Maybe you have a dream and it keeps running in front of you. Maybe you're at a 5 in your metrics, but you know there's a next level. You want to break through that final wall like a lot of my one-on-one clients, or you know deep down this has to happen for you, for your soul. One of the things we do that is so important, everyone, is we come from the it's possible energy. So think about when we talk through beliefs and perception, expectation, there was a lack of possibility. And that limited how you decided about yourself, about life moving forward. So when you come from it's possible energy, you're this is the science behind it. You'll hear like, Dr. Joe Dispenza talking about this. Now there's Harvard studies studying the brain when we speak positively to ourselves. It's the science, right? You're turning your radio dial of frequency when you speak to yourself differently, when you have a different expectation, when you have a different perception or a belief. And the thing that fights you, or the things that fight you, are your brain, nervous system, subconscious. Your soul is screaming to soar. But if the brain's running on minimal energy, if that amygdala kind of gets fired off and you don't have enough focus in the prefrontal cortex, if your subconscious is always predicting something not great is going to happen in your money, or you're going to be betrayed in a relationship, it's going to keep showing you that, because familiar equals safe. Safe is attractive. We repeat what is attractive. We're here to break that script and change the identity. So take a breath. Would you like to go through a 3-step subconscious reset to use anytime, anywhere? And I want you to close your eyes for a moment to set the energy. And I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow morning with absolute certainty that everything in your life is going to work out perfectly. Not because you have all the answers, not because you can see the future, but because you have made a fundamental decision about how you are going to show up in the world. You have decided to act as if everything is going to work out for you. And what I know to be true is when you make the decision, when you embody that energy, and when you step into that version of yourself, magic starts to happen in ways you never thought possible. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there are millions of people around the world living in fear, living in scarcity. They're paralyzed by uncertainty. They are stuck in patterns of thinking that keep them small, keep them perceived safe exactly where they are. But you're here. You are here now. You're listening to this. And that tells me that you are different. You are ready for something different. You're ready to step into a new way of being, and ready to discover what happens when you step out of fear, out of the old story, what happens when you shed that old identity and into a process of being the architect of your life, into a process of living life. I mean, I've spent years, decades studying human behavior, universal laws, how our minds work, energy works, and what vibration and what patterns we need, and how it all carries and determines the experiences that we attract. And what I've discovered will revolutionize the way you think about your problems, challenges, an entire approach to the world. It's way more than what we can share here. And it's what the most successful people, happy people, people who attract everything they desire, and they touch opportunities and it works, and they attract love. They have this in common. They act as if everything always works out, even when they can't see how. This takes real confidence, and it takes that authority over yourself. And everyone, you'll get faster at implementing this process as you go. But for now, it's a promise to yourself that you'll give your best shot when you feel your confidence crumble. You'll go into this reset. And so remember how, I told you I used to be a musician, etc. I would get really nervous before I went on stage, like out of my body kind of nervous. Like I appeared calm on the outside, but I was flying out of my body, disconnected. Anybody else go through this? I mean, it's a thing. So I'm backstage in a hall that's packed, and I'm about ready to go out to play a concerto. And I hadn't done any of this work that I'm doing now. But this is how the formula began to take life, how it started. It began to show me a path of what I could teach others and work on mastering myself. So at that moment backstage, I had to address 3 things. Focus, because it takes a lot of focus to perform. It takes a lot of focus to do anything with authority. I had to get back into my body, and I had to believe that it would all go really well. Otherwise, my performance was up for grabs. So let's start with you. When your authority is up for grabs, when you're handing it over to someone else, what are you usually focused on? Are you focused on being judged, getting it perfect, or trying to control outcomes? Because it'll go back to identity, right? Significance is being judged. Safety is getting it perfect. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. And control is control. You want to predict it. So what gets hijacked for you? Put that in the chat. It's really important to just tap, and it might change. That's no problem. But your subconscious is going to show you the one that usually gets startled. Judged and safety. So identity and then safety. Am I going to get it right? Good work, Divya. Divya's been around us for so long. She does amazing healing work, sound healing. She's a beautiful healer coach. She's done the work and she continues to. Anyone else? What gets hijacked? What's up for grabs? And then we'll go through this process that will help you stop the up for grabs. Is Divya the only one with the courage to put it in the chat? Okay, here we go, Trish. Do it perfectly, being judged. Safety is a big one for me. There's nothing wrong with this. This is part of the human experience. But what can happen, everyone, is you can elevate it. Yeah, sure, Miguel. So when your authority is up for grabs, when you feel that confidence collapse, what are you usually thinking or focused on? Are you thinking, am I being judged? Am I trying to get it perfect? Or am I trying to control? Worth, Stacy, good. So it's going to give us a focus in creating this reset. So let's start here. Belief that my health is not going to get in my way again. Identity, judgment, criticism. Okay, good work, everyone. So you're going to choose a focus, right? We need focus. Think about choosing a target, something. And I want you to say out loud, my focus is, what is the opposite of the thing that gets hijacked? My focus is powerful calm. My focus is one more powerful step. My focus is exude natural authority. Everything else is background noise. All right. So we're creating your statement. I really want you to do it. My focus is an abundant reality. My focus is taking action and earning more money. My focus is getting support to build my life. Everything else is background noise. And then you're going to take a micro action. And as you're stating this, you can focus. That micro action is very simple. You're focusing on a fixed point for 10 seconds, just as you say this to yourself. So think about, if I use my example being on stage, I'm starting to get nervous. I'm starting to get out of my body. I'm starting to think it's not going to go well. My focus is powerful, calm, and certainty. And as I say that to myself, I'm focused on, maybe there's a chair on the stage that I can see. And I'm just focused on it. And I begin to say that quietly or think it. Then you have to get back into your body, right? Re-enter the instrument. Because authority collapses when you lift from the neck up. Most of you are thinking too much. The body is the switch. So you're going to breathe. So you're saying, my focus is powerful, calm. You're taking that action of looking at something, and you're inhaling into the abdomen, because this is what animals do when they are in trauma. They know to inhale low. If you inhale high, you're signaling to your nervous system that it's not okay. We want to get the parasympathetic nervous system operating, so you breathe into your belly. You do it for 4 counts. And then you can exhale through a small opening in the mouth. Try that with me. Press your feet in the ground as you do it. Breathe in. Exhale. Relax your jaw and smile. Feels different, doesn't it? And then finally, belief. If you don't decide it will go well, your experience becomes a negotiation with doubt. So you say out loud or to yourself, my presence is enough to change this entire room. Or everything always works out. Or I am loved and cared for. Whatever you're focusing on, you make another landing statement that anchors it. Because the truth is, everyone, the person that is most grounded, least affected, and exudes positivity ends up creating the world everyone else is wanting to be in. So it's like an unspoken green light for you to just move and go and reset as you go. And the reason this is important and why we do these things at Illumination Academy is you have 4 futures. If we break it down simply, if you have no awareness of the teachings, no awareness of yourself, you're number 4, you're sinking. It's red light all the way down. If you're as you are, with no work and expansion and elevation and your own self-awareness, spiritual awareness, personal development, you'll still go down because the noise of the world is pushing so much more, because distractions are so much stronger. There was a time when people could just coast as they were and just go straight. Not anymore. If you're doing self-improvement, you're studying, reading, you're showing up to trainings like this, you can get to the self-certainty, the success, the happiness, abundance, spirituality. You can get to a prosperity code. It's still going to take longer, and it's going, it might be like, hey, how's it going a year from now? A little bit better. But look, with mentorship, with coaching, with the system, with the recipe, with support and community, you're number 1, you're going to sail. You're green light. That's what we want for you. So everyone, as you look at your confidence frame, as you look at your authority, as you look at your metrics of prosperity, and something isn't landing for you, let's remember that we're here for you, and you can book your prosperity implementation call. And we're going to take the teachings and look at specifically, maybe it's a thing with time, or maybe you're doing great on all things. You're like, but I want my next level. We love to work at that level too. So book your call, show up, be on time, be focused, be coachable, be ready to shift and create the magic. Be ready to implement and take some action, because the truth is, and the team will put the link in the text chat again, all is mind, the universe is mental, as above, so below. These are 2 Hermetic principles, 35,000 BC, ancient teachings. And this is what we bring into our Illumination Academy, into our prosperity code, so that the neuroscience can also go on top of it. And you can actually shift your beliefs, change your paradigm, your identity, and create a life that you love. Because not having that natural authority over yourself, that meaning, you won't be in control of your emotions. You won't have a high concept of self. You might not even ever forgive yourself or have a higher worthiness. When you have the natural authority, when you elevate real confidence, then your mindset's in sync. You're raising the way you show up in the world. You forgive yourself. You decide who you are. You assume your throne. So think of all of this work as an internal battle. The part of you that knows you're capable, that's worked so hard, that has created success, is in constant battle with a deeper program that says, what if I'm wrong? I better not mess up. And I need to play small because it's not safe to be visible. We're here to say, let's stop the internal war. Let's get clarity. Let's help you feel accomplished now so that all the things, all those excuses and old stuff, we're going to rewire it. This is why you're here. So again, I want to invite you to have a chat with myself or my team, book your call, and let's create some magic for you. And if you're listening to the recording, thank you for being here. The recording will be up for just a few days. If you're here live, you'll get the recording for a few days. And remember that action's the insignia of life, and we have so much here that we can infuse into your reality and make an immediate shift. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. I am Kisma, and thanks to the team and everyone that supported us. And we will see you next time. Big hugs and namaste.